All right, ending the speculation. Representative Pickett is here now. Just filed his paperwork for re-election. Representative Pickett, why should voters send you back to Austin?
Why should they send me back? I don't want to sound blasé or old adage, but some unfinished business. I think that Texas is going to hit the wall in 2013 regarding funding, and especially something that I'm really close to and work a lot on, and that's transportation. I want to be the person that said either I told you so or follow me up the mountain and come up with some ideas and some fixes, because there is not going to be any money for transportation come 2013.
Where does that leave El Paso? We've got a project going up in East El Paso that's been a long-awaited project, but I understand that's going to be done in phases. Is that going to potentially hold that project up? What are the impacts?
We're doing pretty good. I currently chair the local transportation policy board for this region, and with the help of some other people, I've made sure that the next 4 or 5 years in El Paso are pretty much set. But then we fall off the face of the earth, and I don't want to see that happen. So I'm looking for a 20-25 year plan, not just for the state, but for El Paso. And we're doing better than most, believe it or not. We've been very diligent in coming up with a real unique and alternative financing. These transportation reinvestment zones that have been created actually are a great way for people to see their tax dollars, the windfall that comes into local government used specifically for transportation. So I think just with a little bit more of a wake-up call to the rest of the state of Texas, we can probably solidify El Paso's future for 25 years.
Your legislative legacy has largely been around transportation. How did you get into that? I mean, I don't imagine too many kids that are 8 years old grow up and say, I want to be a policy wonk on transportation.
Well, I appreciate that. I do work on lots of other things, but that's one thing that I'm very familiar with. It started when I was on city council. I actually started asking questions the same time the court of inquiry was being talked about, and I took a different direction. My path led me to find out that there wasn't anybody keeping us from getting money. We were not participating. We weren't at the table. We didn't have people on the transportation committee. We didn't have people on the appropriations committee doing transportation. We didn't have an active regional transportation policy board. So all of those areas I got into early. We became autonomous here in El Paso, created our own destiny. And so I've been working on it actually longer than a state legislator, since city council days. And my goal has always been to have a completed loop. We're about there, plus some other things. It's just something that nobody was really interested about.
And Representative Pickett, what can we expect to see in this legislative session in terms of the main focus of the legislature? Obviously, the budget's going to be an issue.
It's still there because of a systemic problem. I've been being told by friends of mine behind the scenes that we're still going to go in probably $12 billion short when we get there in 2013. I think the Democrats are going to take back, hopefully, about 10 seats or more. I think that makes it for a better working relationship within the legislature. It was so far off this session that even the Republicans fed on themselves, and I see it moving back just a little bit. I think there's going to be a cleansing process still out there for them in that party and other parts of the state of Texas. So it's going to be a session where there's a tough budget again, and there could be as many as 40, 45 new House members is what the speculation is now. So with that many newbies running around, I hope to be able to direct some stuff El Paso's way. All
right, and final question: if you were talking to an undecided voter in your district, what would your pitch be? What would you tell them?
What do you want me to do? In other words, people look at the legislation that I work on and others work on, and it doesn't come from inside. It comes from the outside. Meaning, what is it important that you want me to represent you in Austin? And that's what I take. the things I work on come from the constituents that I represent. So that person sitting on the fence isn't sure whether to support me or not. They need to come visit with me and tell me what it is that's important to them, because that's the only way I know is to hear from them.
All righty.